So, Khudiram was to leave everything behind, his ancestral house, land, and property, and go away forever from Dere, his native village. He did not know where he would go, where he would find a shelter for his family, and how he would feed them. But he had a strong faith. Whatever God does would be all right for him. And God was kind. Something did turn up. Khudiram had a friend, Suklal Goswami, who lived in Kamarpukur, a village in Hooghly district about 2 miles east of Dere. Suklal came to know what had happened to Khudiram, and he welcomed his friend to his own house. He made over to Khudiram a number of huts to live in, and also a small plot of paddy land measuring a little more than a bigha. At Kamarpukur, for quite some time, Khudiram found it difficult to make both ends meet. But he was happy as before. Thoughts of God filled his mind with great joy. After the harvest, things became easier. Later, the yield of rice from that small plot of land was found to be enough to feed the family for the whole year and also some occasional guests. After 3 or 4 years, a nephew of Khudiram started sending him 15 rupees a month as help. This was a great relief. The basic needs of the family could now be met. After coming to Kamarpukur, Chandra Devi gave birth to another son. He was named Rameswar. Since he was born after Khudiram had made a pilgrimage to Rameswar. After another 4 years, Sri Ramakrishna appeared as Chandra Devi's son. 20 years had passed since Khudiram had come to Kamarpukur. His eldest son, Ramakumar, had by this time learnt Sanskrit and had become a Pandit. He was earning a modest income too. Freed from domestic worries, Khudiram once again set out on a pilgrimage. Earlier he had visited Rameswar. This time he went to Gaya. There he dreamt a strange dream. He saw God in the form of Gadadhara, the deity in the temple at Gaya. God said to him, "I will come to your house. I will come as your son." What a good fortune for a devotee that God should come to him as his son. Such a marvelous blessing men rarely deserve. But Khudiram loved God with all his heart. The first thought that crossed his mind was not of his own good fortune, but of the hardships God would suffer if he came as his child. He said, "Lord, for you my poor household will be most uncomfortable. I will not be able even to feed you properly." But God smiled and replied, "I'll be your son. It does not matter what you give me to eat or how you bring me up. I will be happy all the same." Khudiram shed tears of happiness. On his way back home, he was in a state of ecstatic bliss. At Kamarpukur, at about the same time, Khudiram's wife Chandra Devi too had a vision. One day, when she was standing before a Shiva temple near her house, she suddenly saw that the holy image was sending forth waves of light. The light filled the inside of the temple, came pouring out, and flooded Chandra Devi's body. Chandra Devi felt afraid, but later she realized that it was because God would be born as her son that he had entered into her body as light. When Khudiram returned from Gaya, Chandra Devi told him everything. Khudiram too told her of his dream at Gaya. Then both of them became convinced that God was coming to them as their son Just as Sri Krishna was born as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and just as Ramachandra was born as the son of Kaushalya and Dasaratha, as Buddha, son of Mayadevi and Suddhadhana, as Jesus, son of Mary and Joseph. Has not God appeared on this earth many times in the form of man? Likewise, he was coming again. It is when men forget God and lose their way that God comes again as man to remind them of himself and show them the way to him. Vasudeva and Devaki, Maya Devi and Suddhadhana, Mary and Joseph, and others had visions like Khudiram and Chandra Devi before God came to them as their son.